This photo, it's incredibly striking because you're intrigued by this rubble, but this wall with blue skies and palm trees and this man standing there. So it's an extraordinary photo, it's captivating. But actually the main thing that pulled me to the photo was the story that accompanied it, which it was taken by quite a famous war photographer called Patrick Chauvel, who's a French war photographer, in Jenin in 2002. And the story with the photo, it said, I took this in 2002. When I put down the camera, the man's wife offered me a coffee. An incredible gesture of hospitality in view that their home had been obliterated. And I think that story touched me, and it touched me because this man, his family had lost everything, and yet they still offered a stranger a coffee. For me, I've had it in my GP consulting room for 8 years. It gives me a sense of perspective as well, if I'm having a busy day and I just think how touching that photograph is. And I think I was looking at the photo more often because I was following the story of Aleppo and the horrific destruction there. And it made me look at this photo again and wonder what had happened to this man and his family. So I decided in November, I had a week's leave, that I'd go and try and find him in Jenin. And I'd not been in Palestine or Israel since 1993, so it was a long, long time. And I'd never been to Jenin either. And the only information I had in this photo that would help me find this man was actually the minaret from the mosque in the photograph. So I thought, well, as long as I've got that, someone must recognise that mosque. It's worth going to Jenin to see. I arrived in Jenin about 11 o'clock in the morning, very hot, dusty, bustling city really. Spotted some Palestinian soldiers who were sitting outside cinema Jenin, and I asked them for directions, and one of them spoke English, wasn't from Jenin, so I showed him the photo because I had the photo on my iPad. And then some local people gathered around and they were looking at the photo, and I said, does anybody recognise the mosque? And very quickly someone recognised the mosque, and they said, that looks like it's Al-Ansar Mosque. So before I knew it, I was in a taxi heading off to this mosque. And I had a taxi driver who was very helpful, who spoke a bit of English, and he was showing my photo to various people around the mosque. And very shortly someone said, why don't you try this local shop? So we went and found this local shop, which was a few streets away from the mosque, and sure enough, this woman came out. She looked at the photo, she had a big smile on her face, and she said, that is Abraham Mahmoud Saleh, that's my father-in-law. And I couldn't believe it. About an hour after that, I was sitting in his house drinking coffee with him and his family, which was rather lovely in a way. I was experiencing their hospitality in their house, and they were very welcoming. His wife said that she could see a lot of tanks approaching. Ibrahim wanted to stay in his house, but she said, we need to go to my local village, we need to get out, it's not safe. So they took the 2 children and left the house for a couple of weeks. I'd always thought that their house had been bombed because it looks rubble that someone's bombed from the air. But actually, the Israeli Defence Forces had used armoured bulldozers and just smashed a path through houses, and there were lots and lots of houses that were destroyed in the camp. And so this was their first day back. It really struck me, just moving around, that I had a British passport and I could move quite freely across checkpoints or borders. It was very easy. And when I left the camp, it really made me aware that people, and talking to people in the camp, that actually the frustration of them not being able to even see the sea that's 28 miles away. There are teenagers that have never seen the sea, and also the settlements everywhere, and that's very depressing, because this whole idea of a 2-state solution with all these settlements everywhere, how is that going to be realised? It feels hopeless and not going to help the situation at all.